Right now, as far as like just taking care of myself, I've just been, getting back into dancing because I'm a very creative person, and like one of my things is like when I was in high school, like I used to run like my senior year was running like the dance club, and it's been something that's like stuck into my life for like forever. So like the people who like know me, like they know that every time I go to the club, like I'm always looking for like the dance circle. You know what I mean? Because especially in LA, I feel like we've almost lost that community and culture. You know what I mean? Like
people don't dance in LA anymore.
Yeah, everybody's too cool. Yeah, everybody's too cool. And I'm like, bro, I will literally bust my ass and embarrass myself and have a good time because I'm the type of person where I've learned how to stop ruining the fun for myself, because I feel like sometimes in life we worry too much about what other people think and we try to be people pleaser, and it's like, bro, just be yourself, enjoy the moment kind of thing. And it's like I actively seek those situations because sometimes I feel like I run away from it. So it's like, bro, if I'm gonna just put myself in a moment and I know I can kill it, let me kill it.
Well, what's the line? Dance like no one's watching, right?
Exactly.
So on that note, welcome everybody to a new episode of Milk Room the Podcast. Today I got my special guest, Sonny, Wykin, a GOAT. He's been on here before and we're catching up.
Yeah, and I'm super excited, man. A lot has happened since we last spoke, so I'm excited to be here and just grateful for the opportunity to speak with you again.
Man, you're a GOAT, bro. So the last time I linked up with you, you brought me out to Sola. What a beautiful experience, and what an amazing campus that, the whole beehive energy and the people that work out there, like what an amazing energy to be around on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yeah, it's such a unique space, and it's literally like a tech oasis, and I'm so grateful to work there because it's like in the heart of South Central. So the community that we serve is really a community that deserves to be nourished and doesn't have access to these resources. So for a lot of these kids, it's a great place to just escape reality sometimes and be in an environment where they can be enriched and nurtured in these creative pursuits, because for a lot of people, one of the things we focus on is mentorship. You know what I mean? And it's so hard for people in general to get mentors, let alone people who are in underserved and underfunded communities. You know what I mean?
Because they're way out there. What are they? 60th or?
Yeah, we're deep in South Los Angeles, you know what I mean? And it's such a cool and vibrant community. Like I love the commute there because you pass by so many different communities and it's all these diverse cultures. You got my Mexicans and then the Dominicans over here, and then you go in and it's like, now you're into like another neighborhood and it's just so diverse, and you just see the richness of cultures and you see people coexisting and being happy. And that's the really coolest thing about me, is about going to South Central consistently. I think that I've changed my perception of South Central by working in South Central, because I feel like before I went there, I had this perceived notion that like, oh, I was going to be in danger. This is not the place I should be working at, and I got to be on a head on a swivel. And I think that it was a disservice to those people in that community to just assume that I was going to be in danger when I went there and I was pleasantly surprised how welcoming and how supportive and how just united that community and culture was.
That's
and it was
so cool. So like, what type of programming or like what type of value does the community get from a place like Sola?
Man, so I think really Sola's impact is on the youth front. I think that it allows young people, one of our mottos at Sola is, if you can see it, you can be it. So key example of that is we have one of the best cybersecurity programs, one of the best maker studios. It was sponsored by the Hubble Space Program. So we have so many different opportunities for kids to kind of like see themselves in the shoes that they never could see themselves before. And it's really just a magnificent opportunity for young people to dream and to know that those dreams can come true, and that there are adults that are willing to listen to you and support whatever it is you have going on. Because as a mentor, I think the biggest thing that I've been able to take away and give back is knowing that I was that kid years ago who felt lost, who felt like I didn't know where I was going, that felt like I didn't have a trajectory. And I met people like yourself who took the time to see something in me that I myself didn't see yet. So, having the privilege of having somebody like you in my life I've taken everything you've given to me, all this free game, because every time I talk to Greg, it's free game. It's so funny. I tell myself mentally, like, every time I talk to you, I gotta just prepare myself because I'm gonna leave richer than when I came in. You know what I mean? Like, you're just so magnificent with your thought process and how you break things down. It's like I gotta take that, bottle it, and then give it back to my community, because that's what that love is. And I think that you are such a great example of somebody who really does a lot for the community, not for the sake of like I want the accolades and I just want to be talked about, but you really have the heart for it. So seeing you be such a shining example of what that means and how to be a real true hero, I mean, I had to do the same.
I love it, man.
I mean?
And way to step up for the city that raised us, right? Because right down the street from you and the Creative Collective are literally and figuratively making noise.
100%, man.
So what's that been like, man?
Man, I'm just so grateful for David, Noah, Max, Hobby, everybody at Creative Collective that's been on this amazing journey with me. And you know, it started when you know, the milk room shut down, and I had built all this, you know, this community and momentum. And I was just like, oh my God, like, it's just so crazy how it happened. And I was just so sad. And then I was like, you know what, I can't give up, because that's not what the milk room was built on. It's like the community, like, milk room is the mecca, but the community is always the people. So as long as you got those good people in your life and you take them with you, you're gonna have the same community and the same thought process. So for me, being inspired by you for giving me the first opportunity ever to do my first event, I was like, you know what? Doing these like kind of like public party events is dope, but I think the Greg method would be, how do we combine that with like a nonprofit and then put on the community? Because my whole thing is like, I want to be the person that companies and organizations go to be like, let's go invest into this community. So one of the first things I did, shout out to my boy John, who got me the job later at Sola. His mom actually has a nonprofit called Helping Hands. And one of my first events was Let Her Flowers Bloom. It was an all-female led showcase. We raised over like $700 in a matter of 3 hours. And these women who are extremely talented came out, donated their time, and absolutely brought that house down, and in the most impactful, dopest, positive way ever. And I was just so thankful to be a part of that and let these talented women be at the center and showcase the power of awareness, the power of community, the power of support, and the power of just listening to people and being a true ally. You know what I mean? I feel like with me, the mentors that I've been blessed with have all been men of power that use their power respectfully, with decency, with honor, with courage. And that's how I uphold my quote unquote status of power as well. You know what I mean? It has to be done in the same way, because, you know, as men, we are always going to be in a position where we have some type of leverage. And I think that, like, as men, we need to hold ourselves accountable and say that we need to treat our women, our aunts, our mothers, our sisters with respect. Because if we can't do that, how are we going to care about people on the other side of the world who are also going through something even crazier? You know what I mean? And I think it starts with the community, it starts with the family, it starts with the home. You know what I mean? And we have to give ourselves more opportunities to heal. And that's really what Let Her Flower Bloom was. It was an opportunity for us to come together as a community and really start healing, because I myself am a child of trauma. I've, you know, experienced domestic violence in my life. And for me, the reason that I do what I do is because, you know, I know what it's like to be a 7-year-old kid and to see domestic violence within your home and feel so powerless and feel like you can't help the person that you want to help in that situation. And for a very long time, at a very young age, I was blaming myself for not being a man enough to do that. But I had to give myself the grace and humility of being like, bro, you were 7, you were 8. What are you gonna do in that situation? You have to channel this anger, channel this pain, and instead of lashing out on people and being the very monster that they try to create, be a better person. You know what I mean? And I think that's what the beauty of life, my life has been, is I've gone through a lot of tragedies, but, you know, the beauty that I've seen in it is giving me the resolve to continue going, because I know things get better. It's really about perspective and how you channel these emotions. And I think by having people like you in my life, you guys are a shining example of like the power of just being a person and just being somebody who is like, you know what, I don't need all this extra stuff. What really matters to me is the difference I can make right here. You know what I mean? And that's really my superpower, is like harnessing that, because I really believe that. You know what I mean? I've seen it happen firsthand so many times over and over and over again, and it's like I feel like a crazy person, because, you know, I'm tired of telling myself it's a coincidence when it feels like destiny. Everything is so full circle. Even having a conversation with you right now in this very room, you know what I mean, is a full circle moment. So That's how I kind of see it. It's just one of those things where I'm just honored to be in this space where I am right now, because I get to make the most impact every single day, and I think that's the best thing.
And so, like, on the topic of impact, a few days ago, I had our boy Be Able on.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you guys link up, or how did you guys come across each other's path?
So, you're not gonna believe me, because this is like the most divine story of all time. So, before I met Be Able, 6 months ago, I met Kevin Clark. And Kevin Clark was looking for a mentee that could potentially take over his foundation. So for 6 months straight, I worked every single day with the Dakar Foundation. I was on meetings with the Department of Rehabilitation, California Jobs First, basically all these governmental departments that really work as resources for people in different communities. So through that research and through that effort, I was able to meet people who would later directly affect Brigham, specifically with like the Department of Housing and things of that nature. So me and Kevin just randomly, the day I was having an open mic, a charity event with Helping Hands, which is crazy because it's that full circle moment again. And Kevin had told me that there was this AI that was out that was utilized by USC and the military to help people with trauma and PTSD to get social counseling. So they were basically like an AI social worker. So you could use it at 3 a.m. It's not going to get mad at you for asking questions. It's going to have compassion. It's going to give you the resources that you need. It's going to give you help when you need it. And he said, how brilliant would that be if we could take that technology and utilize it for people on the spectrum? And he, whether he knew it or not, put that seed in my mind, and I literally said it to my day to myself. I was like, I'm gonna find somebody in the neurodivergent community and I'm gonna help them. And that very same day, like 6 hours later, here I am at an open mic, the same thing I've been doing for the past 9 months, just another open mic, another charity event. And here comes Brayton on stage and he's like, hey, I need help and I'm gonna lose my home. And I remember just hearing those words and like this just rush of just like, just over my body, and I wanted to cry, but I didn't want to cry because I was sad for him. I was just so happy that like God gave me this opportunity to test me, to test my resolve, and really if I was really about it. Because there is no way in any shape or form that I challenge myself to find somebody and with the matter of hours, he's there in front of me. And I just remember being there and just being just like, have this just feeling of like, I could do it. Like I could, this is what I wanted. This is what I need. Like I can totally help him. And he got off stage and I immediately went up to him. I was like, Brayden, I need your phone number. I have some people who can help you. We're gonna have a conversation tomorrow and things are gonna get better. And at that moment in time, I just knew like a handful of people and I knew that like, we could definitely have a conversation with him. But I didn't know the magnitude of the impact that one decision was going to make, because Brayton is not somebody who was ever looking for a handout. He was looking for an opportunity to show the world that he was more than these labels that were placed on him.
Well, I mean, he made the effort of like from Koreatown to West Hills is a trek.
Exactly.
Down the street. And for a lot of people, they get comfortable when they're like, oh, I gotta jump in the car and drive somewhere, or it's not convenient, and like.
Yeah, and it takes you out of the moment, and it's like it's one of those things where it's like that distance could be something that is deterrent. And
right.
I was talking to Brayden a while ago about this, but it was like
Be able
about it. And I was so grateful that I met him and he showed up, because I was like, if you didn't talk to me,
right,
you would be in this situation.
So then how long before he hits you up? So you swap numbers? And
literally the day after.
Right.
I set up a meeting with the Dakar Foundation and we got to work, because he only had a month to basically pay his rent before the eviction notice was going to hit. So I knew that time was of the essence. So every single day for an entire month, I was on the phone with some type of governmental department trying to figure things out. And the thing that sucked the most was that they literally will not help you unless you are actively getting evicted. So what was crazy to me was like, here's somebody who's capable of working, who is not saying that like, I'm not trying to work. He's actively looking for a job, but yet you're not going to give him the resources to stay housed so he can find a job. Because what happens if he loses a home and he gets the job? Where is he going to go? where's his checks gonna get cashed to?
That's
You know
why
what I
I'm a fan of like a universal basic income.
mean? Exactly.
Cut everybody a check so that they can pay for the crib, stock up the fridge. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have that much money as a country. Like, we've contributed that much as citizens. All right, so he's got a 30-day notice or a 3-month notice.
Oh, it was a 3-day notice, and he got that on National Autistic Awareness Month.
Man.
And it's one of those things where it's like, you know, it's so crazy because.
All right, so you guys link up. You're looking for resources for him, and they're over here like, hey, if he's not evicted, we can't help him. So then it literally comes down. So then there's a showcase that happens, right?
Yeah. So before the showcase, I'm prepping him for the fact that like he's technically gonna have to get evicted or get the eviction process started in order to get this to continue, which is crazy because I'm literally telling my brother, hey, you're gonna have to drown further in order for us to even do anything.
Right.
So basically what I started doing was we set up his GoFundMe, we set up the donations, the merchandise, everything financially as far as streams that we could to basically brace for that.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was because we knew that he was gonna have to get the eviction notice, we stopped worrying about rent the first month. We focused on, can you survive every single day? And then we set up streams for him to survive every single day because it doesn't matter if we pay it off the rent by the end if he can't make it to the end. So that's where all those other streams are coming in. And then thankfully, once he did get the eviction notice, then all the processes started expediting. But it was crazy to think that like if I wasn't here backing him and if there weren't people in his corner financially helping him, he would be another statistic. He'd be another person who is left on the street without help and without the ability to access these resources. You know
That's why, like, we have to look out for each other as neighbors at the end of the
100%.
day. And to me, like, when people are like, Greg, why are you so invested in like leveling people up or making sure that, you know, you and everybody's just good, you know, and I'm like, because the stronger that those around me are, the stronger I am.
100%.
So like now we have a couch to crash on in Koreatown.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
So wait, so it comes down to the 3 days. So what happened? Like, where's the?
So
like, I know the outcome of the story, but like, where's he at?
So I remember that day because Brayden called me, and I could hear it in his voice how disheartening it is because literally on National Awareness Day, you yourself as somebody who's living life on the spectrum are getting evicted, and it's so crazy to think that like he could experience something like that, and then given the circumstance and the gravity of the month and the day itself, it's like that's an ultimate FU to somebody on the spectrum. You know what I mean? That's disgusting. You know what I mean? And it's like, how do we as people not have the compassion to think like, obviously this is somebody who's gonna need a little bit extra time, and what we're asking for is just the common courtesy of saying that we have every intention of paying this off. We just need more time, man. He's going through something right now. He's just not getting help. So we were in a constant battle with his landlords. So after all that had passed, and his resources started coming in, we focused on the showcase, and that was really like to top off just everything that we were doing. So leading up to that, we were busking in Santa Monica, and that was an amazing experience. We had so many people come out and donate, and it was cool because along this process, as just going from, you know, just a 26-year-old in the community to, you know, an autism awareness advocate, every step of the way, I was so surprised by the people who would just show love to Brayden, because a lot of the people that showed the most love to him were complete strangers. People who had no idea where he's coming from, his background, but just took the time to hear his story and understood the gravity of the situation. Because for me, one of the most heartbreaking things was, this is somebody with a master's and bachelor's in accounting. And here we are outside in Santa Monica on the street busking for him because the world around him is not willing to see him as an accountant. They want to put everything else before him before they see that this man is able enough to take himself to college, educate himself, and get the degree that he needs to be an accountant, but yet society built this world not for him, so therefore he doesn't have a place here. And that's terrible because we need to make...
Who in society though?
And it's the job employers, because he was working with, you know, with Aldi. So there was a situation where they wouldn't even give him something as simple as a bathroom.
Yeah.
And this is somebody who is neurodivergent. So you got to think about his day-to-day being there is already uncomfortable. Now add on the fact that he can't find a restroom.
So wait, for the sake of storytelling, so 3-day notice, then what?
So after the 3-day notice, that's when we really hit the ground heavy with the rest of the financial funding, like really going heavy on the GoFundMe, going heavy with the busking, and just raising as much money as we can and as much awareness as possible. And like we were hitting events every single day, like every single open mic that we could do. We were out there. I was filming him, getting as much content as possible. Because
so he's living he's utilizing his art
exactly
to create sustainability for him. Because this piece of paper that was sold to him ain't working.
Yeah.
And so like talk about like the universe saying sometimes like, hey, like I need to shake you up to get you to do what you know you gotta you do.
Yeah.
And in his case, his instrument saved him.
100%. It's I give it up to divine nature. You know what I mean? And what's cool about that situation is that he's so talented that like he broke the mold as far as what his capabilities were, you know what I mean, as far as like outside perspective. And he's somebody that, you know, I love to champion because he's a maverick. He's
like now he's a professional musician.
Yeah, and he's a recording artist, you know what I mean. So for me, it's just like it's seeing the fact that like no matter what society may think that
who is the society you keep talking about? Because I don't feel that way.
Well,
like,
who
are those people that you keep talking about?
So when I think about society, I think about this current administration, and I think really I'm talking about people.
But they don't represent. They represent like a small I don't know. Like to me, like especially here in LA or like in California, like the current administration represents a small percentage of how
people feel, yeah.
Right. So like, when you say society, like I feel like you're throwing me in the like you're throwing all of us as a society. Like
no, I feel you. Yeah, it's pretty general. So I'll speak on it. There's people like RFK Jr. for an example, who speak on autism in a very they speak on it in a very demeaning light. And one of the things that as an advocate, as I realize, is that, you know, it's all about the conversations that we have with people who are neurodivergent. And for me, it's like I'm dealing with somebody who's 30 years old and on the spectrum. I don't talk to Braden like he's a child. I talk to Braden like he's a grown man because he is one. You know what I mean? And it's something as simple as that, because even with talking to him and working with him, I've noticed how sometimes people might not say soften up, but, you know, talk to him in a more like kind of like babyish kind of way. And it's like, this is a grown man. You know what I mean? Like Braden has a master's degree. You know what I mean?
Like to me, I didn't know that autistic meant like disability. Like to me, like some of the smartest guys I know are autistic.
100%.
And they're like making video games, coding software, creating beautiful art, writing music, making music, and now able, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
So like it's their moment.
Hell yeah.
Like I think like it's a really cool opportunity for like I love what Abel's doing with like bringing awareness to autism and like showing me that him as an independent artist was able to take his saxophone and not get evicted with that and the power of community, right?
100%. And it's beautiful to see that. And I think like I love that the fact that you pointed that out, because it's really the time to showcase and shine a light on people on the spectrum. And you know, like,
you got 1 million followers on TikTok yet?
No, not yet.
But we need to work to that.
We're working on it.
I know people that are like, they go on TikTok live and they're clearing $4,000 to $15,000 on TikTok live.
Yeah,
bro, we've got people down the street from us that are like going on platforms like Kick, Party.com, and they're just showcasing their craft. So like, I love to see Abel like consistently stream an hour a day on the platform of his choosing, where people can maybe tip him and drop some money for him.
So one of the things we were trying to do too during that time was go live on TikTok, and unfortunately you need at least like 1,000 followers on TikTok to go live. So we're utilizing other channels and things. But I think that's great because it goes to that mentality.
So like, you have over 1,000 followers on Instagram. I have over 1,000. So like, us collectively can get him to 1,000 followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
To be able to stream and be able to share his music. Because now when I think about like how is music consumed, right? Or how am I put on to new music? I'm spending most of my time watching YouTube Shorts or TikTok.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's just like a quick little tidbit of just like music that you're hearing, and then it gets stuck in your head for the rest of the day kind of thing. And I think with the music that he plays, you know what I mean too, like he's such a magnificent artist that it's like those songs and instrumentals that he does are like in my ear like 24/7
That's so
anyways.
cool.
You know what I mean?
That's so cool, man. Well, I can't wait to like just see him cook up some visuals.
Yeah.
And start like creating like the stories to the music, and I'm like the universe, like on behalf of the universe, thank you for like stepping up and like
Thank you.
seeing him as the talented artist that he is, right? And being like, bro, we're gonna shine a light on you for a sec. Because at some point we're gonna need him to mentor somebody else,
Exactly.
right? And then that's how it works. Like we level up people so that they can go mentor somebody else, and
The cycle continues.
That's it, man.
And likewise, I want to thank you because, you know, I feel like you're a huge inspiration for a lot of the things I've been able to do in the community. And, you know, like I said at the beginning, like Greg was the first person who ever gave me an opportunity to do my first event. And I will never, I will always owe you for that, because that was literally the pinnacle of me meeting everybody else. Like if I was on the way here, I was thinking about it. Like if I didn't work with the Milk Room, I would have not met John from Helping Hands. I would not have met Be Able. I would not have met Creative Collective and all other amazing people. And I owe so much of that to the Milk Room and for that time and moment that you gave me to for the very same thing that I looked in at Able and see that light and see that passion and that commitment. And I think that we need to continue that legacy of passing down that torch. We need more people like ourselves to really, shine a light on the power of just mentorship. And I think that's really what it's about, because mentorship just leads to us all leveling up together. You know what I mean? And my mindset based off of you is really boss up my community. You know what I mean? And allow us to leverage the fact that, we have so many different stories to tell. We have so many great people like yourself who are just doing so many magnificent things. We have so many people like Be Able who are defining themselves in so many different ways, and we need to champion those people and really give them the platform to do so. So I'm extremely grateful for the Milk Room for creating that platform and consistently platforming people, who are making a difference. And to be able to speak with you today is honestly such an honor and privilege. And you are really somebody I look up to and admire. And I hope to make as much of a difference as you one day. And
what's already happening, and a lot of it was you showing up. That's it, right? So like, to me, the takeaway from this episode is like the importance of simply showing up.
Yeah.
Like you had 100 reasons why we can't pull up to Sola because it's far, because it's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have 100 reasons why we can't, but like your gift is that you show up. And like now you're showing up for people, and like the impact is happening. I pulled up to Sola, hung out with these students, and like I've never pulled up to a program where the students hang out afterwards.
Yeah, it was cool.
They all dip, and in this case, they were all hanging around like, give me more, but like knowledge, you know what I'm saying? And it was so refreshing to like know that these gems are gonna go be applied by these kids in South LA, and like being a product of South LA, it's programs like Sola that saved my life.
Yeah, and it's such an honor and privilege to teach, because it goes back to that mentorship, and especially teaching, it's so cool because, if I would have found Sola at like 16, 17, I mean, who knows what I would be doing. But now that I found it now, at my age, I think it's even better, because now I have the skill set to make an impact and teach and really pass on that mantle. And it was so brilliant to see you there, because everybody was so excited, and it's just a cool space because everybody there passionately wants to learn. You don't have to tell any of these kids to do anything, because they just show up to class and they're ready to go. You know what I mean? And that to me is so cool, because I spent the last 3 months teaching, and it's been one of the most fulfilling things I've ever gotten to do in my life. And it's so dope to know that like every day I go to Sola that I'm making a difference, I'm making an impact, and we're making positive changes in people's lives in the community. And that to me is my higher purpose. You know what I mean?
Love that. And on the topic of higher purpose, where does somebody go dance these days?
Man, so for me, I like Goo Monday. It's a little bar in downtown LA. The back end, where the open space is where everybody usually gets the hip hop vibe and does his dance circles. Also, you know, we go to Saddle Ranch sometimes. You know what I mean? We'll get out there. Desert 5 spot. But yeah, there's a bunch of cool spots. Anywhere I'm at, just let me know. You know what I mean? You got a good beat. I might just just break dance for you a little bit. You know what I mean?
Nah, you had me reminiscing, like back when I'd go hit the clubs. Like I would say, like there's two types of people that hit the club, and like one of them goes straight to the middle of the dance floor, and like you're not pulling them out of there till the night's over.
Yeah.
And then the others that go stand around the bar, you know, the perimeter prowlers.
Yeah.
You know, but I was the type of guy where I'd go straight to the middle of the dance floor, and the next morning I'm waking up, my thighs are sore.
Oh,
you know, like.
I remember. Speaking on that too. My first event was the DJ night, and oh my god, I have a video of me.
Caliente.
Yeah, DJ Caliente. That was crazy too.
Caliente.
And speaking on that too, it's crazy because like afterwards, you guys were like, you should be a host. Like I was like, I had my whole little Johnny impersonation going on, and just on that note too, like dude, pulled my hamstring. Like I was like cramping up. I had like I didn't prep at all. I had like no food that whole day. I'm over here dancing and shit, trying to keep the vibes going. My leg gives out. I'm like,
oh, you gotta stretch it out, right? Yeah. Before you leave the house, you gotta give your body a good stretch.
I didn't know. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where you gotta learn on the fly. Right. And I took notes after that. I was like, bro, you better have some potassium. You better have some snacks ready to go, bro. I was like, literally, my friends like Wykin and burning me with one leg. I'm like, no, we gotta keep the party going. I'll take one leg with me. Fuck it. We gotta keep it up. But
those are the best nights.
Exactly. Those are the nights that I'm super appreciative of because it was spent with community, just having fun and just enjoying the space and the people around you.
So who are you listening to these days? Other than Be Able, like what are some other indie artists or just artists? I don't even like the term indie artists. Any other artists that we should be tapping into?
So I recently discovered Issa Sings, who's a very talented kind of like jazz singer. She's really dope. Freddie Land, she's also a really dope singer. Shout out to my boy Cobra J. ATM doesn't exist. Who else? Yo, shout out to Carter Ace, Benji Patterson. All my friends, man. I think realistically for a lot of the audience and community watching, listen to your friends' stuff, man, and give feedback, and don't be afraid to give positive, give critiques. You know what I mean? And be truthful, you know what I mean? Because I feel like sometimes, we get too caught up in this idea of being afraid to just being a homie and being like, hey bro, this is fire, but I think if you like mix and master that, it'd be a little bit better. And you never know, you might give the critique that turns that, a normal song into that greatest hit, you know what I mean? So I would just say to listen to your friends and show up to community shows. I think I've discovered a lot of the people I'm just listening to now from like creative collective shows, open mics, and just going out into the community and just participating in the aura of music that we have out there.
I love that. So what does somebody like you do with all the footage of content that you have? Because there's never not a moment where I don't see you holding a piece of camera equipment, capturing a moment. Where does it go?
So right now, I have it archived. I'm gonna start dropping the SRA Clips channel. So I'm taking a page out of Greg's book and start working on the archive. But what I really want to do is we were able to capture that last year of the Milk Room. So I kind of want to put together like a Milk Room mini doc and like go over like the last year and interview like you, Giovanni, all the people that were just there during that final year, because it was one of the greatest moments of my life, and we have so many different events, so many different stories, and the amount of people that just had an opportunity to just, that was their first ever anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's so dope, and I would love to tell that story. So that's what I'm working on as far as these clips and videos, and we are going to be launching the St. Rose YouTube channel real soon, and dropping some more content. So I'm really just prepping myself for getting together. But truth be told, I am a perfectionist, you know what I mean, and I suck at editing, so I'm still trying to find the right editor. So if that's you, and you want to edit for Wykin Harris, Dakar Foundation, or St. Rose Agency, please feel free to reach out to me at wykinharris@gmail.com. I will definitely look at your portfolio, but I'm looking for editors.
You know what, like, dive into the AI rabbit hole when it comes to video editing, because there are so many useful tools out there, and at the end of the day, I would rather take speed and learning over perfection.
100%. Because I feel like the perfection is the killer of just creativity sometimes too. Because when you aim you try to aim too high, it's like, bro, you're gonna spend all day just doing this when you could have just practiced a little bit more and got that shot perfectly. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel you on that. My thing too, though, is in regards to AI, is that, you know, I will always utilize it. I think for like short content, it's really, really good. But I will say for long form content, like something like close to 5 minutes, I do like that human touch only because I love the cinema. And as a cinematographer and a filmmaker, I really love those human imperfections when you like slow panning and you just tilt it just a little bit, or it has that little, you know what I mean? It's like that artistic touch. So for me, I try to keep it a healthy balance of it, because it is something as a creative person where, you know, certain jobs are going away. So while I have the resources now to pay somebody to do it, I much rather do that, because, you know, I could pay an AI, but the AI isn't going to invest in my neighborhood.
Right.
If I pay my homie who's an editor in the hood, you know, he's gonna go spend that money.
Well, hurry up, because you've got so much great content that YouTube channel's long overdue.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
There's plenty of stories that you can amplify, and like as a creator, again, we sit on so many gems,
100%.
and our reality is like, we just need to put it out there to the world and see how the universe reacts. We're in experimenting phase.
100%.
You know? So what's next for you?
Oh man, so I'm super happy to announce that real soon I will be taking over the Dakar Foundation, and it's been a great opportunity. Kevin has blessed me with a chance to really be at an administrative level, and I'm grateful because I'll still be able to work with Sola as a teacher, but also be able to work closely with people like Brayton and find these people with these stories of, you know, resilience that we can help. So realistically, for me with the Dakar Foundation, it's an apprenticeship program. So from, if you are 18 to 24, we will literally pay you to learn a skill within the creative media industry. You get full certification, and after the program, we are looking for full-time placement for our apprentices. If you're age 25 and up, we will be just focusing on full-time placement with you. However, you will still be able to learn and get all the same resources.
That's huge.
So that's something where I'm really grateful for, because I get to take what I'm doing at Sola and magnifying it beyond the classroom and really make a nationwide impact, because what we're hoping to do is take this formula and replicate it for cities across the nation. And it's really dope, and it's something that was bestowed upon me for just going out there and showing up. You know what I mean? Just to speak on that real quick, it was the Leap Divide event at Kevin Hart's studio, and my cousin, who's also on the spectrum, was invited. And I spoke to Kevin, I told him what I was doing, I told him my cousin, and all the things that we've been able to achieve. And he's like, wow, man, I really want to talk to you and have this conversation. And it was amazing, because before we even left, I was like, do I even want to go? Like, I'm not going to get a laptop. I'm not going to get anything out of this. I don't even need to be here. I'm just chaperoning my cousin. And that negativity immediately left after I walked out the door. And I just felt like purpose again. And it just felt really cool. And, you know, I'm just grateful for people like Kevin and yourself in my life, because I see the difference that having people with such care and expertise and compassion for entrepreneurship, adulting, and just life in general, having that knowledge makes such a difference. And it's allowed me to help so many people, and at the same time I'm helping people, I'm still thinking, can I afford toilet paper next month?
That's
You know
it.
what I mean?
That's it.
So I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, no, I love you, bro. I love you. And you know what? I'm gonna plant a seed that the West Valley needs a startup center, or like an entrepreneurship center, where Valley kids can come play around with ideas and bring businesses to life and tinker.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm already smart. You did it.
Right.
You did it. All right. So the Valley, I got you. I got you.
So wait, you running for city council anytime soon? Like,
So-
when we dropping the new, or we doing a special episode for that?
I will say in regards to that I'm still seeking mentorship. My thing when it comes to running for office is that I'm really politically motivated, and I'm definitely active in my community. I just need a little bit more coaching and understanding and knowledge, because I don't want to be somebody who takes power for the sake of taking power. I really want to focus on helping people, creating social and economic opportunities for people. I really want to focus on homelessness, neurodivergent people, disabled people in general, and just our communities and our neighborhoods, because whether you're Republican or Democrat, you bleed like me, you breathe the same air as me. And I think that, like, I want to just create a society where we just learn how to coexist. I feel like, you know, we have so much money for the military, but how much money are we spending on our cities and our communities? We're so worried about filling potholes and roles, but how do we fill the holes inside of people and their souls? You know what I mean? There's so many different people who are going through so many different things, and I feel like with social, social services, a lot of people aren't against it until it's you. You know what I mean? Like, we should have, like you said, like a universal income, because what happens when you go homeless, then you're gonna be like, oh well, we should have these resources. Well, it's like, well, you had the opportunity to vote on it, but because you
to me, the heartbreak is when we allocate billions of dollars, like for homelessness here in LA, billions of dollars were allocated to it, and I don't think it made a dent visually. Like I have offices in the arts district, and Skid Row doesn't seem any lighter to me.
And it's like, what are we doing with that money? And I think
that's a lot of money. Yeah. Billions, bro, is a lot of money.
I really think it comes down to like more transparency, because we need itemized receipts when it comes to these things, because I'm for people looking into what the government's doing and holding them accountable.
And it starts that starts in our own backyard.
Yeah.
Like city of LA, like why are there not more why isn't from those billions money allocated to help people so they don't become homeless?
Exactly.
Because that's where you want to catch them. Like, I don't want to, now that you're homeless, it's more expensive for me to help you. But if you show up and you're like, man, I'm 2 months late on rent, like I'm about to be evicted, we can still work with that.
Exactly.
So like on a business end, like it costs us more money to not help people right before they become homeless, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. And that's what we were going through with Brayden or Be Able, and it's one of those things where it's like the system is so backwards, and it was one of the most depressing and annoying things to be up against. Was like
why does he have to be in the streets to get help?
And it's like, if he is in the street, how do you expect somebody who's homeless to get to give you their address so they can receive benefits? Where are the benefits going to go if they don't have an address?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so.
And what does that do to his self-esteem? Like just everything in general. Like, so you know what? Like, see who's running the shots. Like, who's your city councilman? Like, whose job are you gonna take? Is it gonna be city council, senate? Like, we could get you in there because you'd be fighting a good fight.
And I would appreciate that, because for me it really just goes back to just helping the community. Like, one of the things that I had to deal with after losing my dad was like, all this cool stuff, all these amazing things that I get to do. Unfortunately, like, the person that I would want to share it with the most isn't here. So it's kind of like bittersweet sometimes. But the good thing about that is that I've learned how to just appreciate the act of showing up and doing things that you're not going to get thanked for, and just being that person and setting that example, because a lot of this stuff that I can do sometimes might be thankless, but I do it because it's necessary, and I know that it's work that makes an impact, and it makes somebody else's life better. And I know that for me, given the circumstances that I've been in, I know what it's like to feel like nobody cares about you, or you're not acknowledged, or people don't fuck with you. And I try to do the opposite of that in the world, because I've been in that spot. So rather than putting more of that negative energy out there, I'm like, I'm gonna give you the opposite, because I know you, my brother. I know exactly where you've been. And rather than take this moment to, quote unquote, shit on you, I'm gonna lift you up, bro, because somebody in my life like you saw me in a position and didn't know what my background was. You know what I mean? I could have been having a shitty day, and then I talked to you, and then my entire trajectory different. You know what I mean? But it's that conversation and taking the time to get to know somebody. And that's the biggest gift for me, is like, I get to meet so many cool people in my community. I get to work so closely with just so many talented people who are equally.
So who should we be doing business with? What are some of your local businesses in the valley?
Oh man, I would love to see a Howie's Burger and Milk Room collab. I mean, they're some of the best Wagyu burgers out there.
Where are they at?
They do private events, but the last time they were the burger place at the playoffs event, so they were usually at playoffs. I want to see the playoffs Milk Room collab. I think that would be sick. And I would definitely want to see the Be Able Milk Room collab. I think that would be really sick. Those designs would go hard.
But what are some other businesses in the valley that people should be tapping into?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Tap in with Bad Habits by Jaden. He's really dope. Just local.
Jaden's a go.
Yeah, he's the design.
Did his pants drop yet?
Yeah, they are fire. Japanese denim.
Nice.
Sick. Like he's going above and beyond for sourcing.
He pulled up to Japan recently. I saw.
Yeah,
that kid's out there
sourcing stuff, and it's so dope to see somebody at such a young age just be inspired in that way. And it goes back to just like the standard set at the milk room. It's just such a cool, creative place. It's hard to even talk about the milk room and not feel inspired by just saying the words milk room.
Shout out to Jaden.
Yeah, shout out to Jaden and everybody, and Armand. Just everybody, you know, like everybody who's on the milk room.
Our boys at the studios.
Yeah, dude. Heaven Studios. Guitar Merchant.
Guitar Merchant has been home for you guys. They have been so open.
They've been so good to us, man. They Guitar Merchant, Phil, Catherine, Sage, everybody.
So they sell instruments there, right?
Yeah.
People can pull up, support,
mom and pop
get guitar strings. Like, what can people buy there?
Yeah, it's a mom and pop guitar center. It's literally, you know, a one-stop shop for musicians. If you need a band practice, if you need a place to practice, you have a stage there. If you need lessons, there's lessons. If you need guitar equipment, whatever you could think of, it's all there. And it's such a welcoming space. It reminds me so much of the milk room with the community and how just awesome everybody there that
Where's it at?
It's in Fallbrook, right? Fallbrook. Yeah, it's in Fallbrook.
Okay. Topanga.
Yeah, kind of area. Right next to. I'm so bad with streets.
That's messed up. You host shows there.
I know. Hey, I put it on the flyer. I make the flyers, and that's mine.
But it's beautiful to see spaces like that really create and give people an opportunity to like come do what they're doing, right?
100%.
Some of your go-to restaurants in the valley.
Oh man, shout out Camaretta's. Like that is my go-to place in Canoga Park. It's so good, family restaurant. I always show love to the mom and pops. Any mom and pop shops in my community, those are always my go-to.
Well, that's how you impact the local economy.
100%. Oh, shout out Point Joy. We recently did a free video for the hi-fi community, the Filipino community, and worked with them, and it was so cool. And
what is that, a restaurant?
Yeah, it's a restaurant. Point Joy, the
Filipino food
best
so
Filipino
food. Where they at?
In the hi-fi community off of, oh man, I have to give you guys an address. I'm gonna give everybody addresses here. I'll put it in the video because I'm bad. I'm just so bad. Like,
are they here in LA?
Yes,
are they in Dallas?
Yeah. They exist in California. They're somewhere on the
gatekeeper.
I'm not even. My thing is like I'm not even gatekeeping. It's just like I'm so bad with like numbers, names.
Silver Lake. Like what neighborhood?
It's a historic Filipino town.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. High five.
Yeah.
Well, I started acronym. My bad.
Right.
My bad. You gotta know. You know what I mean? Hey, you chill with the Filipinos like your boy. You know what I mean? They holla at you.
So what neighborhood is hi-fi?
Next question.
No, I'm gonna say like Vermont and Beverly, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever you say, G.
Right. So how about the Beehive? What kind of businesses can somebody expect to run into at the Beehive?
So Beehive, we have Tree Yoga Co-op. The Beehive is really like a rental space. So that entire campus, we host some of the best events out there. A lot of
those markets there.
Yeah, Black Market Flea. Dochi recently performed out there for an event. They killed the live events out there. We actually have a partnership with Live Nation, and we're gearing up for our Live Nation students to host their own event in the Beehive as well too. So if you guys are interested, check out thesolofoundation.com, and you can see our upcoming events and come out and show some support.
That's so cool, man. Well, thanks again for checking in on us.
Thank you, man.
And I'm excited for all the work that you're doing. And come back in a few months and fill us in on
Appreciate
which shows,
you,
man. Love you.
Thank you, guys. It's been Wykin Harris, and it's been a great conversation with the Milk Room. We're out.
Hey, here we go.
Perfect. Appreciate it. Thank you, man. Woo! I went on a little bit of tangent there. I'm glad you pulled me back a little bit, but yeah, that was cool, man. I appreciate you so much for that. That was